Hello there, I'm Lloyd Evans. Welcome to Ramacrow. It's time for another voicemail. Today's voicemail is from an anonymous caller. Let's listen to what they have to say.
Hi, Lloyd. Just wanted to start by saying that you can use this voicemail on your show if you'd like. And I guess I'll start by also giving a little bit of history, just briefly. I came into the quote unquote truth as a young person. My parents started studying when I was 12, and I was baptized when I was 13. And we became very involved with Jehovah's Witnesses. And to the point of I was actually a regular pioneer whenever I turned 15. I ended up going to Bethel for a couple of years. I was appointed as a ministerial servant at 19, and I've served as an elder for 12 years. Um, and through that whole time, I've had a lot of questions, uh, and I always laid them on the thought that Jehovah will answer these things in time. The proverbial wait on Jehovah to answer these questions. But it's just become too much, and the last approximately year, um, I've had some radical changes in my life of my own doing, in which I stopped attending meetings. I stepped down as an elder, um, and made some major changes in my own personality, allowing myself to ask questions that I've always wanted to ask. It's in my nature to ask questions and to learn about things. I'm a troubleshooter um, secularly, and so it's taken a lot over the years to not allow myself to investigate further, but I've done that, and in doing it, I've arrived at a lot of the same conclusions that I found on your show. This was how I felt, and whenever I did end up seeing your show on YouTube, it made a big impact on me. So I've actually been able to help my family quite a bit. I helped my son and my daughter both, who were very active as Jehovah's Witnesses. I found their true feelings about what they had learned, and now they've, with my help, successfully been able to turn in their um, their letters to disassociate, and they're no longer Jehovah's Witnesses. I've not done that because my wife is still a Jehovah's Witness, and I want to be supportive to her. I know that there's no way I'm going to be going back to meetings. I know that this is not the truth. Uh, but I really have a lot of compassion for my wife. She's lost a lot of family over the years. Um, she looks forward to being able to see her dad again, which is a false hope that the witnesses put out there, as you well know, and as your listeners probably know. And I want to find a way to be able to help her. She's been very understanding for me in my need to ask questions, and she's not alienated me no matter what the price is. And the price has gotten high. It's to the point now the elders are meeting with me, and as I told those elders that are meeting with me that the clock starts now, basically I have a certain amount of time to get my reasoning in line with theirs, or I'll be disfellowshipped. And it does emotionally affect my wife, but she's a good person, and so we're solid. We're rock solid. I'm not leaving her, and she's not leaving me. But she's not fully convinced that this isn't the truth, and I think most of it lies on the fact that she wants to see her dead loved ones again. So I just want your listeners to know that they're not alone if they feel the same way as I do. And also, a question for you is, do you have any ideas, or have you heard of anything that might help someone who's in a position like my wife, who's basically had her entire family leave and she's still hanging on by a thread with a false hope of seeing her loved ones again? I'll look forward to your reply if I get one. Thank you very much, Lloyd. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. You will get my reply. In fact, you're getting it right now. Thank you so much for that message. Another tough one to listen to, because it's really, really sad, isn't it? When we have these situations to contend with purely because of how controlling and black and white and absolutist this cult is. They demand everything, don't they? And they ruin relationships. In your case, it seems as though you have a good relationship still with your wife, which is excellent. I will say that, it doesn't happen all the time that both partners stay together, that their love is able to overcome this huge gulf in terms of religion. You're onto something good there. That's a really good start. In terms of whether I have any ideas, because when I first started playing your message, the first thought I had was, well, this is just going to be one of the many voicemails I have to file under I've already answered that, because so many of these experiences are fairly universal, aren't they, in terms of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses and the struggles we contend with. What I don't want to do is just be repeating the same thing over and over again. There is no silver bullet. There is no universal cure that will work on everyone. We can't change people's minds for them. They have to do their own thinking, blah, blah, blah. I've said it so many times now, and I'm bored of saying it. But there was something a bit different with your message. And it's something that I haven't really spoken about before. And I'm grateful that you shared the details that you shared that enable me to address this. Because maybe in sharing this, it's nothing kind of, mind-blowing, but maybe in talking about this, it will just give you a few, out-of-the-box ideas, or just allow you to come at this from a different angle. Here's a hypothetical scenario of a conversation that could take place between you and your wife. Okay, so imagine I'm you. I could say something like, I understand that your beliefs are very important to you, and despite everything I've shown you over the years, you're not fully convinced in terms of whether your beliefs are true or not true. I understand that you want to see your dad again. I understand that you yearn for the resurrection that's been promised to us by the organization. I'm not going to force any beliefs on you. You are your own person. You're a person I love for being you. And I am not interested in changing who you are, because who you are is someone that I love. So what I am not going to do in this conversation, again, is make any demands or tell you what you should believe. Instead, I'm going to ask that we talk about what you believe and the full permutations of it in terms of our family. Is that okay? And if your wife is willing to go ahead with that, I would say, as things stand, the situation being as it is, what would happen if Armageddon came tomorrow? So if Armageddon came tomorrow, as things stand, we have a son and a daughter who are disassociated. They are disassociated. They have rejected, from the point of view of Jehovah's Witnesses, they have rejected the truth. What's going to happen to them if Armageddon comes tomorrow? I would wait for her to answer. She's going to have to say they're going to die. Okay. Do you think I might die at Armageddon? Because I don't believe that it's true. Yes, I suppose you're going to die too. Okay. So we have me and our 2 children in body bags, or smashed to smithereens by a collapsed building, or burnt to a crisp by a fireball. I'm not saying all this to joke or to mock you. I'm just being real here. You know, I'm describing what your religion says would happen if Armageddon came tomorrow. Your family, your immediate family, essentially dies. And then, once the earth has been turned into a paradise, the resurrection starts, and you get to welcome your dad back. After you've been mourning his loss for so long, at least you have your dad back. But you also don't have me, and you don't have our children. Again, I'm only spelling out what your beliefs are at this point. I'm not telling you what I think, whether it's right or not. I'm not passing judgment. I'm just stating facts in terms of what the Jehovah's Witness religion says will happen. Is this a future, the future that I've spelled out, is it a future that you can look forward to? I would put it like that. Because I don't think lots of Jehovah's Witnesses think about this, or if they do think about it, they perhaps fleetingly think about it and then immediately switch to thinking about something positive. In other words, they're in denial. They're in denial about this sort of stuff. And I'm speaking now as someone who's seen this, kind of holding a candle for the resurrection hope, even though the teachings mean unfathomable loss of people they care about now. I've seen this sort of denial firsthand, and I think your wife might have it. And even though it's going to be uncomfortable for her to think about this, I think she owes it to herself, quite frankly, to come face to face with this kind of reckoning, with this kind of almost an audit of who she cares about and what's at stake. And ultimately, we have to conclude, don't we? But this is something that she needs to decide for herself. This is not something I would say to her. But we have to conclude that even if we grant the Jehovah's Witness fantasy as being something that's going to happen very soon, she ends up worse off. You know, as my daughter Jessica said recently, when I briefly explained the Armageddon Paradise teaching, she said, it's not a paradise if people die. Out of the mouth of babes, you know? I love the way she put it. You know, it's so simple. It's true. How do we call that a paradise? You've got your father, but you don't have your children, and you don't have your husband. How is that a paradise? How is that something that you could enjoy for eternity, that situation? And if the answer is, oh, well, Jehovah's going to make me deal with it. You know, I'll be somehow magically able to deal with it all. Well, what you're describing is a different person. So Jehovah's going to literally change who you are. So the person who's in paradise is not you. You don't even get to make it to paradise, because who you are is, quite frankly, who you care about. The people in your life, the people who have your back and you have theirs, the relationships that we forge in our spins around the sun, they're all that matter. That's who we are as people. The bonds that we forge with people that we care about. And if the solution so that you can enjoy paradise is that you just forget about your kids and you forget about your husband, well, we have that sort of thing in the here and now. It's called dementia. It's called Alzheimer's. That's what that is. When you can't remember people who you care about, you don't know their names. They could be right in front of you and you don't know who they are. It's literally a brain disease. So I don't know whether any of this has been helpful. You did ask if I have any ideas. I do think that the situation you describe, heartbreaking though it is a good opportunity, perhaps, if not for you, then for other listeners or viewers. It's a good opportunity to just kind of process this, because, maybe it will lead to a productive conversation. Again, not pushing anything, not trying to mock or belittle, but just saying, if we take for granted your beliefs, if we just say, they're definitely going to happen, they're definitely going to happen, where does that leave you? So I don't know whether this has been helpful. Hopefully it has been helpful. If you would like to leave a voicemail, the thing to do is go to speakpipe.com/Cedars, remembering to indicate clearly if you don't want me to broadcast your message on this channel. But for now, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for watching.